friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to my craft room. So I have fallen in love with traveler's notebooks and mini albums. And for the last 3 years, I've been doing a lot of art journaling and creating traveler's notebooks and mini albums and 12 by 12 layouts. Like, I have really gotten back into scrapbooking. And not because I have a ton of photos to scrapbook, because really my kids are all grown up and out on their own, but because I'm really enjoying using art to document my days. And I don't journal every day. I don't create layouts every day, but I do every few days, and I'm really enjoying it. I can't believe how much fun I'm having. Here, I'm now using my supplies to create my own pocket cards. So this is just washi tape that was sitting on my desk in front of me. I'm just putting it on the top of cards. Some of those scraps I cut down to make 3 by 4 inch cards just because I like the size, but I also like to have some longer ones because I've been doing some of the list making with Lael Konkar, and I've been really enjoying it. So I just keep pulling scraps out of my scrap bin. Like this, I didn't even cut down. That I know that'll work perfect on one of the layouts in my traveler's notebook. It's just the right size to make a quick and easy list. So I've got my cards made, and now I'm going to add a little bit more decoration. And I pulled out, I've been making a lot of stuff with this Holiday Borders stamp set that I got from Maker Forte. Pardon my head. I'm sorry, my head keeps getting in the way there. But I really like to line them up. And so here I've pulled out some, this is the Everglades green ink, and I'm just adding a little border to the pages. I'll try a different stamp set or a different color for the other ones. And this is Telephone Box Red, my favorite Maker Forte red, and I'm just adding some decoration. So I found a whole new use for my inks, stamps, and dies, and I feel really good about that because the more different projects you can use your stamps and dies and inks for, the more you're getting from the money that you spend on craft supplies. And craft supplies have become pretty expensive, so I feel really good about doing more creative things. I've always wanted to keep a journal, but I've never been very good at keeping a journal because I'll do it for a few days and then I'll get distracted by life. But I have to say, since I've been keeping a journal essentially in a more artistic way, that actually works for me. And I really have been enjoying it. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because maybe you will want to give this a try. And I find that this is not an expensive hobby because I'm using a lot of what I already have. I made it a point not to go out and buy a whole bunch of new supplies. I had a stack of little journal books in my craft room that I got from Stampin' Up. When I was with them, they sold them a few years ago, like quite a few years ago now, probably. But I was with Stampin' Up for 5 years, and I was getting the little journals when they had them to create gifts for people. And I ended up having a couple dozen of them left over, and they sat there until I realized these are like the perfect traveler's notebook size. So I had a lot of those, and I've been making it a point not to go buy a ton of stuff because I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of scrapbooking stuff. I have a lot of card making stuff, and all of that stuff works perfectly for creating the, pocket cards, journaling cards, some ephemera pieces, and so forth to decorate my pages. So here I'm using one of those border stamps. This is the one with the bells, and I just want the bells. So I'm going to stamp those in black, and then I'll fussy cut them out. And I have a gold Wink of Stella aqua pen that I'm going to use to color them in. And then I will fussy cut them out, and those will become die cut decorations for a traveler's notebook layout. And there's so many mini albums you can create. Like, you can actually take tons of classes in this kind of stuff as well. And I took a couple through Studio Calico, so that has been fun. And I feel like it's really given me a way of documenting my story. My husband and I go for about a 30 to 45-minute walk every morning, and I make sure I take my phone and I snap pictures of things as we're walking, or things throughout the day, or we've been experimenting with a new cookbook lately. We're doing a more plant-based eating style now, just because it's healthier. And I've been taking photos of the stuff I'm cooking. I'm just having a lot of fun with it. Like, I can create those traveler's notebooks, make great little recipe albums, and you can record all the recipes you tried and how you modified them. And, before you know it, you have a book of 15 or 20 recipes that you really like, and you can include pictures and your art. Like, whether your art includes gluing some papers and ephemera in, or whether it includes coloring and painting and all kinds of things. Like, you can really do a lot of different things with these. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from Lael Konkar. She does List with me on Saturday mornings, and it's been very inspiring because she has entirely different ways of using those notebooks and layouts. And for those of us whose children are all grown up, I don't have grandchildren yet, and I don't take a lot of selfies or anything like that, but I've started to, because I'm trying to now document my story. So here I stamped those bells. I colored them in with that gold Wink of Stella. Nothing fancy. I'm just cutting them out, fussy cutting around. I've got some journaling cards I can use for behind photos if I want to. And I've got some border strips, or I'm going to make some border strips in just a minute, with that same stamp set. Now, that stamp set, the Holiday Border stamp set from Maker Forte, which I'll link to below, this is the third video I've used that stamp set in. I have used that to make holiday cards and tags. I have used it to make actually some regular holiday cards, not just the gift cards. So I made some 3x3 cards, and I made some A2 size cards, and now I'm making some ephemera pieces. I'm thinking that they will make great bookmarks also, these border pieces. And like, I'll color those in with my alcohol markers or watercolor paints or something to give as gifts, because I can laminate those when I'm done, and they can be little stocking stuffers, or I can tuck them inside the Christmas cards I'm making. So I'm getting a lot of use out of that stamp set, and the Holiday Magic stamp set as well. So I'm just having fun with it. So now I'm realizing I have all these red pieces of cardstock that are left over from some of the cards that I made. So they've been sitting on my desk for a couple of days. So I'm pulling out some of these sentiment strip stamps here from the same stamp set, the Holiday Border stamp set. And I'm just lining it up, and I'm being kind of fussy about it, because I have an idea in my head that I want to stamp this multiple times on these strips. And I'm thinking I could also pull out that white gel pen or my journaling pen and create some lines and dots and stitches, and I could do faux stitching. Like, there's a lot of stuff I could do here, because I have been watching all these, or actually taking all these classes. The last 3 years I've been taking a lot of virtual classes and workshops, and I've been really enjoying it immensely. But now I want to use all those things that I learned And pardon my head. And I'm just trying to get it straight, and I can see I don't quite have enough room for a third one there. So I'll do another strip and I'll line this up a little bit differently. So I'm just going to stamp this 3 times on this strip, and I'll use both of these strips. Neither one of these will go out to waste. And what I'm thinking I'll use these for is I can cut them down to fit the top or the bottom of a traveler's notebook page, or I can use them as a border strip down the side. And here's where I bring in my white gel pen. I pulled out I have a glass mat under the mat that I work on there. And that mat that I'm working on is mostly to reduce the light that is reflecting off the glass mat. And because it's blinding. And see, I just wipe away my mistakes with my fingers. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is my artistic creation. It's going in my traveler's notebook. So on that one, I just made some lines in between. So I decided to do some faux stitching. So I'm just making some faux stitching here along the edge. I thought I'll do that at the top also, and maybe at the top I'm thinking in my head I like to make swirls and loops. Like I've always doodled swirls and loops, and I'd like to do some of that. And I liked the faux stitching, so I added that to the first one as well. Because I can trim these pieces down and make them work for borders along any side of the pages in my traveler's notebooks. So as I'm doing this, I'm realizing, oh, I got a couple blobs there when I made that first line. Maybe I'll work with the blobs and make some circles and stuff, so some dots. And I mean, think of all the classes you've taken or all the videos you've watched where people, if you've watched any mixed media people, like they're always making the marks with their markers and their paint pens and all the stuff, and it's amazing and it looks amazing, and it takes some amount of bravery to do it yourself though. That's what I think. I think being creative takes courage, and I think being creative or attempting to be creative and sharing it with people takes even more courage. And I think that that's what I feel like I'm doing, and I'm enjoying it so much. It's ridiculous. I can't believe all of these traveler size notebooks and that I've filled up, and they're only a couple of bucks. Like they're not costing me a lot of money. Sometimes I even make my own with white cardstock and stuff like that. And when I first started making them, I had some packages of pattern paper left over from Stampin' Up! From years ago that were just sitting on my shelf. They'd probably been on my shelf for 5 years before I finally pulled them out, and I cut them into 5 by 8 pieces, and then whatever was left over, I just cut them into strips. And when the first year I made the Traveler's Notebooks, I used all of that pattern paper up, and I did not buy any new pattern paper until that pattern paper was gone. It was such a good feeling. And now I don't buy pattern paper if I already have some on my shelf. I'm trying to be really careful about that. So here I have some cards that I've made. I've got some border strips. I've got some die cuts to decorate, and I'll share at the end here with a layout that I created with a couple of these bits. Thanks for watching, friends. I hope this encourages you to use your supplies in a new way and maybe document your story in a new way. Thanks for watching.